Hello everybody. So this is the answer to today's case. This is an interesting case, largely because the history is a bit confusing and it's misleading. So this is an 18-year-old male who presented with hyperpigmented itchy patches on the back, which he swore were only there for about 10 days. And he said he had similar lesions about a year back, which cleared completely apparently with some topical medication some local doctor had given him. So these are the patches. He had this sort of hyperpigmented, really well demarcated patch, and here's another patch on the neck. This I wondered about pityriasis versicolor, and but then this was a bit atypical, very well defined margins. Tinea because of the itching was under possibility, and we did a skin scraping which actually came back negative. Well, so let us look at the histological images. So looking at the low part, you're seeing, you can even at low power, you can make out this basal hypermelanosis. You can make it out here, the slight basal hypermelanosis. What you can also see is that comparatively the epidermis looks a bit atrophic. Here is what I would describe as effacement of the retiridge pattern. So here the usual retiridge pattern which is here is absent here. And this could be one of two things. This could have been a hair follicle which has been destroyed, or it could have been a sort of subtle interface dermatitis which was there previously, which has now disappeared, leaving a bit of effacement of the retiridges, or just simple dermal sclerosis when it's quite prominent. It also affects the inflammation that whatever caused the dermal sclerosis can also affect the interface sometimes, causing effacement of the retiridges. This is the hair follicle, obviously, which is in the process of destruction. You can see a sort of lichenoid infiltrate around the hair follicle remnants. So number one is a hair follicle, number two is the sweat glands in the deep dermis, and here you're seeing some patchy infiltrate. The collagen here appears quite homogeneous and a bit sclerosed. You can even make that on low power, and typically on low power you have this typical squared out punch biopsy. Okay, so this is typical of morphea even on low power. So going to higher power, you see this is the hair follicle and some pigment incontinence there because of the lichenoid infiltrate. Lots of lymphocytes which look a bit atypical, but it's just whenever inflammation is a bit intense, the lymphocytes may assume slightly more darker colors and slightly more squarish appearance than you would expect. That doesn't make it a lymphoma. These are all lymphocytes, these round blue dots. So number 3 is a lymphocyte. Number 4 is actually, you can make this out, this is a blood vessel. And this is a sort of a slightly more, the nucleus is a bit more paler, slightly larger. So this is a histiocyte, this looks like a histiocyte, but it's actually an endothelial cell. So this, because it's lining a capillary here, or a vessel. So number 4 is an endothelial cell. Number 5 is an RBC, it's a red blood cell. You can see it here, and you can see a few more red blood cells in between. So that's another red blood cell here. Going to the next image, what is prominent in this particular case is this very distinct perineural infiltrate. So this is a nerve. So number 6 is a nerve. This is a nerve fiber, and these are nerve cells, slightly more spindly and wavy. And this is quite prominent here. Number 7 is an eccrine gland again. And you can see the nice curvy nerve fiber here with some neural cell. Number 8 is essentially pointing out to a neural cell. And number 9 showing dense collagen homogenization of the collagen, and these are just homogenized collagen bundles with no distinct borders. They all seem like they're merging together. So this is just basically homogenized collagen, and that's what number 9 is about. So that's your answers here. I'm not going through them. And the epidermis, as I told you, is a bit, there's a bit of effacement of the retiridge pattern, and you can see this sort of irregular retiridges, which makes the point that there was some inflammatory process here. There is basket weave orthokeratosis, that's what you're seeing here. Here you're seeing a bit of stratum lucidium. It's not compact, it's just stratum lucidium that is visible here, and basket weave orthokeratosis. Note the basal hypermelanosis, and an interesting creature here with 2 eyes. You see these funny bits sometimes in biopsies, which makes your reading interesting. What you're seeing here is these sort of keratinocytes which have a paler around them. Now we see this quite often in a number of biopsies, even normally. These are not melanocytes. Melanocytes are these sort of spindly shaped cells, dendritic cells with a perinuclear halo. When you're seeing more rounded cells with a halo around them, this is just more of a processing artifact. It does not mean anything. Almost the entire, all the keratinocytes within the epidermis look similar. They have these changes in the superficial and in the basal layer. So remember, you don't find melanocytes this high up in the epidermis unless it's a melanoma, of course. So these are not melanocytes. This is a melanocyte here with a spindle-shaped cell with a perinuclear halo. But the remaining ones, this is a melanocyte probably. This is a melanocyte. This is probably part of a melanocyte. This is a melanocyte. So melanocytes are around, approximate melanocyte to keratinocyte ratio is around 1:8 in the epidermis. So yeah, these are not all melanocytes. These are all just simply keratinocytes with a perinuclear halo. The number of melanocytes is the same, but there is basal hypermelanosis, which can be seen in any in morphea and in fact any interface dermatitis. Morphea in the early stages can have interface dermatitis, and that's why there is an overlap with lichen sclerosis as well. So remember that. So there is basal hyperpigmentation, no increase in melanocyte number, there is no parakeratosis, but there is hypogranulosis. You hardly are seeing any granular layer. Any atrophic process where there is epidermal atrophy, there is often hypogranulosis. I don't really know the answer why. Probably because of the epidermal atrophy, the granular layer is thinned out so much you can't really see it. But that doesn't mean anything. It's not diagnostic of anything, to be honest. And the final diagnosis here is explained as morphea. Not all perineural infiltrates are Hansen's. This is a case of morphea, plain bound morphea. The history is a bit misleading, but this is definitely morphea with perineural infiltrates, which have been described quite well in this entity. Thank you very much.